Hello, it's Jane here. It's the end of March and I've got a big smile on my face because things are starting to look up. Not only is the sun absolutely glorious, I mean today I came up to the plot at about 1 o'clock this afternoon. It was just too hot to do anything other than sit in the shade. So I've come back down, it's about 5 o'clock in the evening and look at this, the sun's still out. No jumper, and for once compared to the last couple of tours, I think I'll be able to show you some improvements from last time you were here. So yeah, let's make a start on the March tour. One of the first things I want to show you is the arch, which if you remember in the last tour had blown down and I was having to actually step over all this honeysuckle. So it's been propped upright again. I must admit it isn't the best quality, but we've used these, let's show you, these rebars which have been shoved right down into the soil and hopefully they've gone down about a foot and we've tied the arch to it. So hopefully now that won't go too far, she says, fingers crossed. But look how well the honeysuckle looks. Considering that was completely battered and lying down, I'm going to have to give it a jolly good prune because otherwise next gust of wind and it's going to be off again. But yeah, that's a good thing because I thought it might have to go all together. But the arch has been reinstated. Greenhouse number 1 has been cleared out at last, and thanks to everybody who, can you see this cobweb? Oh dear, I've got a cobweb here. Okay, I walk through that every time I walk into it, but never mind. Thanks to everyone who gave me suggestions as to what to do with the scale insect on the grapevine. I have actually mixed a mixture of neem oil, Castile soap and water and sprayed it quite liberally. So I know there's an argument as to whether you can use neem oil in an organic garden, but I needed to get rid of the scale insect and that seemed to be the best way that I could think of. So that is now all done, it's all been pruned, and look, I've even brushed the floor. Soil, I'm keeping on top of watering that because it doesn't half dry out. As soon as it gets any sort of warmth in here, that'll probably get a topping of compost before we start to plant into it. But for now, we can forget about this greenhouse and move on to the next one. And yes, maybe I should have tidied up before I started recording. But you can see it's been working for us. We have got, at the end there, we have got our onions, or some of the onions that I've put in module trays. I'll take you and show you. There we go. And these are starting to sprout quite nicely in here. So yeah, there's about, altogether about 70 odd onions in there, plus I'll show you some that we've got planted outside as well. So we shouldn't go short this year, fingers crossed. And the only other stuff I've actually got growing in here, ignore the mess, look, you see, it's compost, isn't it? It's good stuff. Are my dahlias. And I was actually given, I've got dahlias that I lifted from last year, which have got the purple tags, but as I was actually given some by another allotment here from a different allotment site. I went to a talk there about dahlias and propagating dahlias, and he just said, come down the greenhouse, I've got loads of tubers spare. So he's told me, you know, they might not come, but I've potted them up anyway, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of his I've got here. I've got no sign of anything yet. That needs watering again actually, but I've just dampened the compost, and every time I come in and check they're okay, I do keep lifting these and checking there's no slugs underneath hiding, because they tend to like the little hidey places. But yeah, so looking out for signs of growth on them, and that at the moment is all I've got in the greenhouse. Oh my goodness, I hope you can see a difference here. There's another cobweb. It's that time of year, isn't it? It's like the house when the sun shines. All of a sudden it looks very dusty, and I'm sure it's never dusty when the sun goes in. The fruit cage, yes, it was a bit of a nightmare last time you came, as in I hadn't cleared out any of the dead, but now, if you can see, I've got my currants at the end here doing well. I've got my goose gogs down here, and all the strawberries down this side that are growing amongst the autumn fruiting raspberries have had a really, really good clear out. So yeah, it's looking a lot better. I've got to sort the path out. I did have that carpet, which is behind me at the moment actually, but I've taken that out because we did encourage wasps last year. We didn't encourage them, but they liked the carpet, so they made a wasp's nest underneath, which was very difficult to get around. So they've been evicted, but yeah, something needs doing with the path, but you know, we can think of that another time. But what I did want to show you, somebody asked on one of my previous recent videos how the cuttings that I put in to the ground of the blackcurrant were doing, and if I show you, this is them. So these are literally bits that were cut off this blackcurrant here, and look how well they've taken. I mean, like anything, they just look like dead sticks when you put them in, but they're obviously quite happy there. So I might leave them there this year, or I might dig them up and pot them on. What do you think? What would you do? But yeah, I'm really happy about that, because things are starting to look like they're going to live again, which they didn't last month. So yeah, onward and upward. Let's have a look at the rest of the plot. And opposite the fruit cage, I've got what was and what will be again the Dahlia bed. I'm saying that as long as those Dahlia tubers live. But until then, when I was actually clearing the dahlias out, I kept finding these very peculiar creamy coloured tubers, and I wasn't sure what they were, so I've left them in, and they've turned into these, which I do believe are clumps of bluebells. So I'm going to leave them in. I know they'll go mad in the end, so I'll have to remove them and probably regret ever having looked after them at all. But for now, I'm going to leave them in because, you know, there's going to be nothing else in this bed till at least mid-May when the dahlias go in. But the other thing that I'd forgotten about that was here are my Welsh onions. So I'm really pleased with them, because what happened last year, I divided the clump up, and I thought I'd given all the clumps away and not saved any for myself. So very pleased to see that they're coming. So it just goes to show what's underneath the bed when you actually tidy up, doesn't it? These are a few onions. I think they're Shakespeare, which I dunked in just because I had a spare bit of ground a couple of months ago. So they're in there for now. I might plant something else around them, I'm not sure yet. But then in the distance, can you see there? There's our other arch, which has the blackberry on one side and the tayberry on the other, which didn't do anything at all last year because I think it was quite shocked and maybe quite annoyed at having moved. But I'm quite hopeful about it this year. I'll take you closer so you can have a nice look. That's better. Right, you can see now I've actually got some nice fruiting stems for this year. Oh, and I've got a little ladybird as well. Hello, little fella. Can you see him? Hello. Loads around at the moment. Okay, so I've got the blackberry on that side, and then I'm going to swing you over. And I wasn't too sure about the tayberry. It didn't look very happy at all. Look at these. That didn't look good at all. But yeah, it's sending up these shoots here. So again, fingers crossed. Can you see that? Yeah. Fingers crossed that this year we might actually get some tayberries, which will be nice. In the background there, you can see, remember the naughty blueberries that wouldn't do anything? They just went on strike because they were in the ground. They've finally been potted up. So I've got my early fruiting, what are they called? Spartan early fruiting, blue crop mid fruiting, and Chandler late fruiting. And they have been potted up in a ericaceous compost, which has got loads of vermiculite and perlite mixed into the bottom third because they do like good drainage. But I'm hoping, upon hope, that we might actually get something from these this year. In fact, let's just have a look. I had to prune so much off. You know, they say dead, dying and diseased. Well, that was pretty much all of the plant. But look, look, look. Oh, yes. we have liftoff. Look at that. We've got some buds. So if we can just keep going in that ilk, we might get some blueberries to have with our tayberries. Garlic going great guns. We've got Violet, Casablanca, Germador, and another. Can't think what the other one is, but they're looking really good. I might give them a feed, but actually, you know what? They look quite healthy themselves, so very, very pleased with them. And if I just move you over to, you saw these last time, nothing much has changed, but I've taken the little net to stop the birds off because they were getting tangled in it. The broad beans, not the birds. Yeah, there's my broad bean patch with the ones that have gone AWOL, which I haven't replaced yet because I haven't yet planted any more seeds, but I'm quite happy with them. And then at the end here, yeah, there's some more onions. I must have just had a bit of an onion phase. I think these are called electric. I don't know if you can see from here. Ignore the weeds. There's these little onions are coming up. I think I was so saddened last year by a lack of our onion harvest that just wherever I saw a pack of onions, I picked them up and put them in. Because they're taking up quite a lot of ground, aren't they? But yeah, we'll see how they do. We've been getting quite a few feasts of the purple sprouting broccoli, which, as you can see, is poking through the netting, so the birds are as well. But my goodness, it's worth waiting for. It's one of those crops that you do need to have, I don't know, a fair amount of space that you can afford to put to one side for a while. But yeah, it's just lovely. And of course, the more you pick, it's one of these, you pick the main head off. Is that the main head there? No, you can see I've picked the main head off there. Can you see that? And then you get all these side shoots, and each of those, oh, it's delicious. People say, how is it different to broccoli? I'm stuck, look. People say, how is it different to broccoli? I think it's a bit sweeter. But maybe that's just me, but yeah, definitely a crop to make room for if you can. Well, and if you like broccoli. We were given this rusty old cat. What would you call him? The strawberries of shame from February have now been cleared up. Saying that, they don't look particularly clear, do they? But if I take you over to this one, lavender coming again in the middle. Yeah, all the dead around them has been cleared away, and actually a lot of them were still attached to the runners they'd produced from last year, so I've detached a lot of runners. I have actually got rid of a few because we have got quite a lot, but be careful if you leave your runners attached to the parent plant because they will drain energy. But yeah, this is actually looking now, we can actually see the plants and they're all starting to put on some nice, really fresh green growth. Okay, there's not much change here with this top bed. Remember I put, there was cardboard down there, green manure here, and that was just covered. Well, you can see it's not now. But yeah, it's not really very good, is it? The only thing I can see from the green manure is, I do believe this could be a sort of mustard. I'm going to try and eat it. It is, you know. We should harvest that. It's a bit hairy. Oh dear, if it suddenly disappears, you know it's poisonous. But yeah, so we've got that mustard in there. But what's going to happen, we're having a whole pile of manure, 2-year-old rotted manure delivered tomorrow. So tomorrow this will be topped. The whole lot is just going to be topped in one go, and it will be, it'll have however much manure placed on top, an inch or two of manure. See how much we've got, see how far it'll go. So yeah, so continuing the no dig method on this will all look really nice and clean, as will this one. Again, if you look, there's not a lot. This is where the beans were last year, and there were loads of dead bean sticks, look, like there. Sorry about my shadow, hello. But if we go over to here, again, this is just going to be topped tomorrow. This is what I was going to be doing this afternoon, but it was too blooming hot. Right, so that'll come off dead easy. And you know what's great about these, actually? They come up so easy like that. Give them a shake, and they go to the chickens. The chickens love them. But if you look over here, I've got a surprise crop of alderman peas. How cool is that? I was actually given these by Neil, who gave the talk about the planting by the moon phases, and I thought it would be far too early to put them out, but he assured me they'd be okay, and they've been in now for a week and they look absolutely fine. The only thing I did was when I tightened the string up as I was going along, it raised the lower horizontal bar, so I've had to put extra string in and try and encourage them to go upwards, because we don't want them going all over the place. So yeah, so once they pick up they should be great, but it's so nice to have some food in. So thank you so much, Neil. They're looking really, really healthy. This top bed here, again, this bit needs clearing, but absolutely fine. Most of it it's okay. It's just this strip of grass here. Won't take long to do, but if we walk around here, we have now got, I'm saying we, Mike's put these in, carrots and shallots. So what have we got? Early Nantes carrot, shallot, Tesco, early Nantes again, oh, and shallot Germo, and they've obviously been interplanted using a bit of companion planting with onions and carrots. They're under there, and then at the end of this plot we've got a few rows of Charlotte potatoes. We've made the decision, it could well change, things very often do, to not do main crop potatoes this year, because we just don't use, we don't store them properly, we don't use them enough. The ones that we really appreciate are the first and second earlies. So our Charlottes are in there. They are under, or rather they are sitting on, some are sitting on compost, some are sitting on comfrey, and some are sitting on a very fine layer of chicken manure that's got a bit of soil on top. So we'll see how they do. The soil should be rich enough. But yeah, again, really nice to have things in. Polytunnel, believe it or not, despite these things down the side here, is pretty much ready to go. What we did do though, and what we have been doing, is we've been emptying the bokashi contents down this side. And much as it's not meant to smell very much, it is far better having the doors open, especially when it's been so warm. So yeah, we're really, really pleased now, because this is going to be where we grow our tomatoes and our prize-winning melons. So yeah, it's important we get this one right. There we go. This is Edith, by the way. She's not used to being on camera. You're a little bit camera shy, aren't you? So I'm just trying to get her used to it, not being on camera, but being picked up very, very gradually. But you're still not sure, are you? You're still not sure. Should we just see what you think? Should we put you back? We're going to put it back. Hold on. Bear with. It's all right, little fella. There we go. It is a different one. This is Cora. And Cora, bless her. Are you okay? You okay? You okay? You okay? Cora is the bottom of the pecking order. She's always getting pecked on by the others, aren't you? Hey? Yeah, you are. So I'm trying to show them, I know it sounds mad, trying to show them a little bit of favouritism, because that'll sort of up them through the ranks a bit. But she doesn't want to stay here either. I don't want to frighten you. Come on then. Back with Cora. Okay, come on then. Come on then. There we go then. We're back with trusty old Edith. The other problem is I've just given them a whole handful of sunflower seed, so you don't want to miss out, but I'll give you some sunflower seed in a minute. She's looking a bit sorry for herself. She's got all these feathers missing under here, and we've checked her over. There's no lice, there's no mites, there's nothing untoward. but I'm hoping that it might just be sort of a bit of a mini molt. She doesn't get picked on by the others. You used to, didn't you? But she can hold her own, but as long as she's laying and feeding and quite happy, we're just hoping it's a small molt, a short molt, so she should be okay. But yeah, what do you think? That was it. How much better was that than February's tour? Honestly, what I loved about the February tour, I did tell you, it was dead honest. It was just how the allotment looked. I didn't do any fancy tidying up, and it showed it warts and all. But I did get such lovely comments afterwards with people saying they appreciated seeing seeing it that way, that it wasn't manicured, that it wasn't perfect. It just sort of relieved the pressure off them that, allotments aren't always what they look like on the tin, if you like. So, but this month, there's definitely, to me, I know it's only small, but there's progress. And to be able to see, she thinks I'm talking to her. Am I talking too loud? Hey, I'm talking too loud. You can see, just to be able to see things growing again. And to be able to clear the dead away and see that there's new stuff underneath. I mean, those black currant cuttings, I'm absolutely thrilled with them because, didn't cost anything, and it was just a bit of a what shall I do with these, I'll shove them in the ground and see what works. But let me know if you've done that or what you've done it with, because I know you can do it with lots of hardwood things. So it's worked. But yeah, that, seeing the new growth, coupled with we've had a couple of really lovely warm sunny days over here in the UK, or certainly in my part we have, to the extent, as I said before, it's been a little bit too warm to do any work, but it feels like the season is slowly tapping you on the shoulder and letting you know that it's time to get going. And this is when, if you have had a lack of garden mojo over the last few months, I've talked about this many a time, do not worry, because sometime now, if it hasn't already, it will come back. Just seeing those first shoots, those first bits of green. Where are you going now? You want to go now, don't you? Oh dear, I'm being deserted for the sunflower seeds. Hold on. Come on, buck buck. Come on. I don't know. They're fickle creatures. And I know in some places, I know over in the States, you're still having some rotten weather, you're still having snow in some places. Not to say that we might not get any, but yeah, you're probably not feeling very garden inspired at all at the moment. So, but it will come. It will come. Saying that, my seed sowing, I have still. I'll tell you what I've got in. I think it's possibly the same as my February tour. No, I've got a few more things. My sweet peas, my peppers, and a few more flowers, but that's it. The only vegetables that I've got in, I mean, I've got the peas in down there, and I've got the onions and the garlic, potatoes, carrots, but as far as planting in seed trays goes, the only vegetables I've got in so far are some lettuce, and I mean literally a small pot of lettuce and a small pot of, I think they're Roma tomatoes, and they're because I am doing the trial with the planting by the moon phase. So I planted those just before the end of the waxing phase, so I'm going to plant a few more this week coming in the waning phase, and then the rest in the next waxing phase, and just see if there's any difference. If you don't know what I'm on about, go and watch the video I did interviewing Neil about his allotment and how he uses the moon phases with, or the phases of the moon in conjunction with organic gardening methods and no dig to get some really, really healthy crops. So yeah, I'm giving that a little bit of a go this year. But yeah, other things to tell you. Yeah, we have launched, me and Jim over at the Lake Effect Gardener have launched this year's Transatlantic Melon Challenge. Again, if you haven't seen it, I'll put links up to the videos somewhere here or somewhere down below. You know what I mean. And yeah, get yourself over it if you've never grown melons before. Give it a go. the amount of people I've spoken to who didn't think you could grow melons in the UK. I mean, I certainly couldn't, but my neighbour up the road managed fantastically well. You know, just try something new. It's really, really gratifying to be able to do something you didn't think could be done. That was such a terribly long, waffly sentence, wasn't it? I do apologise. But yeah, I'm quite excited about that. So we're going to get as many people as we can involved again. And if we can all just hashtag everything that we do, photographs, Instagram, Facebook, get stuff up on your channel, share the challenge, share it, let people know, because the more people we get involved, the better. But yeah, so these are all things to look forward to. And again, the clocks go forward. I think they already have in the States, but our clocks go forward an hour tomorrow night or Sunday morning, which means that evenings will, how does it work? How do you say it? We'll get longer, we won't get longer evenings, we'll get lighter evenings. So like for now, for example, I'll tell you now, the time is, it's 5:45. Sun is just going over there. It's beautifully peaceful. But next week, you know, I could be sitting here at 7:15, 7 o'clock, and it's just nice to have those evenings back out in the garden. So yeah, I hope you're feeling, you're starting to feel a little bit more positive about gardening. I am. And if I can transmit to you via the magic of YouTube, I hope that it's working, because it does come back, you know, and whatever's going on, you know, nature never lets us down. You know, you pop a seed and it'll grow, unless you try really, really hard to kill it, which I've done many a time. On that note, I am going to go. Please, if you haven't subscribed before, please subscribe. All the details are below for Instagram and Facebook, so come along and say hello, and get outside and enjoy your gardens, because, I don't know, things are starting, aren't they? Okay, so I'm waffling on. I'm going to go. I'll see you all again very soon. Take care.